Hello, Pete Tucker. How are you?
All good, Sean. All good.
All good, man. So, brand new episode. I know it's been a wee while, but excellent. We're back. We're back to it. Another episode. We've got a smashing guest coming up for you. Before you all know it's Lawrie Spence because we gave you some clues and a lot of smart people out there. They got it straight away. But first of all, I was going to have a wee chat about recent race results. But let's go into the big topic just now. And ever since the last podcast, Josh Kerr, world champion.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's
What a
did,
run.
I know it's one of those ones you watched in the last 200 meters. He's made his move, and you're like, is Jakob going to come back at him? But he just seemed to get stronger and stronger. And I just can't believe it's been two championships in a row. Two guys with Scotland have won it. That's insane.
Yeah. Now that was impressive, and I particularly liked Josh Kerr's response in his interview when he was asked about some of the showboating going on, and the fact that the guy that came second was a bit under weather
Yeah, I don't know.
apparently.
But look, it doesn't like he put himself in the start line, declared himself fit. So
That's it.
what you can do about that? He's world champion. That's what matters.
That's it. And again, I'm not going to disclose our connection, but a little birdie tells me that we might know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, and we might possibly be talking to Josh Kerr within the next few weeks. So keep your eyes peeled for that one, or eyes peeled, ears peeled,
Yep.
whatever. It depends how
There's a
whether
very
you're on YouTube or Spotify, or there are other platforms. But yeah, we might be speaking to Josh soon.
it's a it's a maybe 10% possibility, but we'll see what
I'd say
happens.
I'd say
Well,
12. All right, cool. Sean, so just quickly, obviously, we like you said, we've got an illustrious guest, but we're just going to very quickly round up some local results, just some that we've chosen. One that's very close to where we train and race, and also close to our hearts, considering that you are a former two-time
three
Kilmacombe,
time
sorry,
three
three-time
three time
Kilmacombe
winner.
10K winner, and obviously I have managed to secure a win in the Kilmacombe half a few years ago. So we had the Kilmacombe 10K and half marathon, which is a great event. That was on the 10th of September, and taking the win in the 10K in a good time was our very own Ross Gray from Inverclyde in 32:55.
Yep.
Andrew Osborne from Glen Park, Green at Glen Park, second in 34:42. And I'm not sure what club he's from, but a chap called Robin Kyle was third in 36:55. For the women's side of things, taking the win was Ruth Fraser Moody, 41:15. And it was great to see a friend of ours back racing again, Elspeth Kerr, running for Kilbarcan, second in 41:39, just missed out on the win there. But we know once she gets back with a few weeks training, her times are only going to go one way. And then in third place, same surname as the guy that came third in the men's race. So I don't know if there's a relation there. Laura Kyle, third in the women's race in 43:32. Other races we were talking about as well. We had the Scottish Veteran Harriers Club cross country trial, which is obviously the trial to get selected for the British and Irish Masters cross country race, which is coming up in November. And that's also at Tollcross Park in Glasgow, where the trial was held. I don't have all of the category results, but the kind of the big one, if you like, was the men's race 35 to 55 category, because we had a lot of people that we know competing in it. I was entered in it but didn't run due to lack of fitness. Taking the win was a big Gregor Yates from Inverclyde in 28:16. Second place, Grant Bailey from East Kilbride. He was a vet 40, 28:35. This is just overall placings in the race. Third was Jim Toll from Metro Aberdeen in 28:45, a vet 45. Next was Ian Whittaker from Edinburgh AC, 40-year-old, 28:55. Stuart Gibson was fifth for Cambuslang Harriers. He's a 40-year-old as well, 29:01. Good run from Andrew Osborne from Green at Glen Park, who is also a vet 40, 29:06. Neil Lafferty, also from Green at Glen Park, so some good results on those guys. A vet 45, seventh in 29:09, but I'm pretty sure he'll have made the team there. And then I won't go on too long. We've got Scott McLeod from Edinburgh AC in 8th, vet 35. Paul Monaghan, who you mentioned, has got an impressive record of racing in that race and running for Scotland in the Masters. Green at Glen Park, 50-year-old. 9th overall in the whole race, 29.31. And then I'll just finish with 10th place, Andrew McRae from Carnethy.
Carnethy, yeah.
That's the one, in
Carnethy.
29.34, a vet 50. So some good races there. And then just very quickly, won't go on about it too much. I did a little 10K on Saturday, not fit at all, really contemplated not doing it. But yeah, it went okay considering where I'm at. So first place getting the win was Fergus Donnelly from Shettleston, won the race last year as well. He won it in 36.56, was quite some way ahead of me. I had a good race, a battle for second. I managed to win the battle for second anyway. So I was second in 38.21, and third place was a chap called John Logan, who I was chatting to, who is from Port Glasgow. Not with a club at the minute, but might be joining Green at Glen Park, but we'll talk to him about that later. He was third, only 2 seconds behind me in 38.23, so it was a good race. And the women's race was won by Kat Gillen in 43.52, Ruth Craddock in second, 45.28, and Laura Gray in third, 46.20. So
Nice.
That's that from me.
Brilliant. No, just another couple of sports results there. But before we go into that, Gregor Yates winning, that'll be his first time, going to the Masters Championships. Great, it's in Glasgow, Tallcross Park. I'm gonna be there. So the Scottish Running Podcast will be there.
Yeah,
we'll be there taking videos, interviewing athletes, etc. But no, it was great to see the guy from Glen Park, Paul Monaghan. That guy's just a complete beast. He's regularly clocking in 100-mile weeks, over 100-mile weeks, and he's at it every single day.
Very consistent. He's a great runner, and he always goes off quite hard, doesn't he? As you've raced him, he tends to go off, and but to be fair to him, sometimes he will sustain that pace, but not always. Obviously, a lot of the time I see that vest coming back to me. But yeah, he's certainly got grit and determination, and I like that. He's certainly one that puts himself in the mix. But just to touch on that, Sean, we should add, I was double checking there. So yeah, that British and Irish Masters cross country, which as you say is in Glasgow. So anyone that's listening to our podcast or watching us should try and get yourselves down there, because it's a great event, and obviously we want to give a lot of local support to the Scottish athletes. I might give a wee slow hand clap to one or two English guys, but I think I'm allowed. So that British and Irish Masters cross country, Tollcross Park, and it is on Saturday the 11th of November, just to confirm.
Yep, absolutely. But no, great to see a lot of local guys as well from Green at Glen Park.
Yeah.
Running and qualifying for the team as well, so it'd be great out there supporting them. But no, I did the Stirling 10K. It was a brilliant event, a great day out. It used to be, there was a great quote from one of the people that did it on their Instagram page, and it said, "It used to be a great race, now it's a great event," and it is. It's turn up. There's bouncy castles there. There's even on when you're running, there's like cheerleaders cheering you on, etc. I did get a wee boost from that. I was absolutely done because I'm not fit just now. I just finished the first week of my marathon training, but it was a really good day, and the weather was fantastic as well. And after the race, I've found a new milk I can drink. It's Graham's blue milk. I'm like, it's so refreshing after that race. And then obviously our good friend Craig Ruddy ran it as well. And Mark Doherty from Inverclyde, he was first vet 40. He just continues to smash that scene. And Colin Doherty as well. The race was won by Jamie Crowe. I think he was hoping to try and get the record, but he didn't have much company up at the front with him. But the race was packed out, further down, but just up at the top, just Jamie Crowe by himself in just over 29 minutes. It was 29:15 or 16 he ran.
Right.
But he looks he's a great runner, and he looks really, really easy. So I'd imagine if he did have a lot more company, he would have ran a lot quicker.
Yeah, no, that's great. And as you say, since you mentioned Mark and Colin Doherty, obviously we both had a look at their training really well at the minute, really consistently. They both ran a 26.2 mile or a marathon in training, just as a comfortable training run for them. I think it might have even been around 2:37 or something like that, just a training run. So it all bodes well to see what they can do with their marathon coming up. So which marathon is it they've got? I can't remember which one they're doing.
It's Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, yeah, that's right. So they've got a few weeks to go yet, but not not too far. So be
Yeah.
interested to see how they go.
Absolutely. Brilliant. So, good roundup of the results there.
Okay, mate. Thanks
So,
for that.
let's get on our guest. As we all know, it's the man himself. So, the Scottish internationalist and GB internationalist and Commonwealth Games athlete from the 1978 Commonwealth Games. Please welcome Lawrie Spence.
And father-in-law of Craig Ruddy.
Hello. So,
Hello.
welcome to the episode 8 now of the Scottish, or 7 or 8, been a while now, of the Scottish Running Podcast. And this week, this is a very special guest for me because this man used to coach me and coach me to basically all my track PBs. So he did. Back in the day, he was an absolute outstanding runner, a Scottish internationalist and GB internationalist runner from the 70s and 80s. Please welcome on Lawrie Spence. So, Lawrie, how are you?
All right, fine. Thanks, Sean. Yep. I'm here, yes. And I'm recovering from a new knee. So one of the downfalls of being an athlete. So I've got a new right knee and it's going great.
Right.
Operation be successful. There you are.
That's what we've all got to look forward to in the future, isn't it?
I hope not. I hope some modern day shoes will be so much better than what I used to wear. But hee ho.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think back in the day, you seen some of the guys doing marathons in the 70s and 80s, and they're pretty much just sand shoes they were doing marathons in. So,
yeah. There really was no protection, and in fact, the shoes we went for the Tiger shoes, which were very, very light and made of canvas, and they were great in your feet because they felt so light, but they gave you no protection, and that's what we're paying for now.
I can only imagine. Remember, there was the Asics Piranha shoes. I think I ran
that's it. Yeah,
5K PB in them, and then I think I did 10K in them on the track, and my legs were in bits. So,
yeah,
but they were great shoes, though. Great shoes.
Yeah.
So, like we start off with every other podcast, Pete, you're going to ask Lawrie some questions, just some nice wee fun quick fire questions from Pete Tucker.
That's it, yeah. Although thanks for that, Sean. As I said, we're not going to call them quick fire anymore because they're never really quick fire, which several people have pointed out. So it's just going to be actually there's an 11th question which I've been getting a bit of stick about, but I'm going to leave it in there until I get told to take it out. So we'll go for 11 questions. But just to quickly add there, obviously great introduction, and yeah, really privileged to get to talk to Lawrie. Obviously, what a running career he's had. But I just need to clarify a few things. I will add a little caveat here because obviously I've got some other sources of information, other people that I've been speaking to. So any information I've got has been provided to me by others. So if any of it's incorrect, I do apologise. But I just need to clear things up initially. Obviously, we're speaking to Lawrie today, but correct me if I'm wrong. I believe your name isn't actually Lawrie. I believe it's actually Robert. Is that correct?
Well, my full name is Robert Lawrie Spence. I was delivered by a Dr. Robert Lawrie, and my mother was really struggling for names, so I'm called Robert Lawrie, and that's why Lawrie is spelled L-A-W, it's R-I-E, which is the surname way, and that's how I've got my name Lawrie, and I do prefer Lawrie to Robert, but unfortunately, in this new tech age, I've got to use Robert so much because otherwise I'm not legal. So yeah, that's a true story.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. That's a good start because I didn't know the reason. Yeah, so as I said, I had found that. Did you actually know that, Sean? Did you know that Lawrie's first name is actually Robert?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
But I just know him as Lawrie.
Yeah, yep. No, we'll stick with Lawrie, but Robert's equally as good a name in my opinion because it's one of my middle names. So yeah, you can't go wrong with that. But okay then, so we'll just crack on. So okay. Lawrie then, yeah, first sort of question really. I'd be interested to know what your best achievement in running is, or your proudest PB.
I think my proudest thing was being captain of the Scottish team. That's something that to be a captain of a group of individuals in athletics, as you know, is really quite interesting. And even in the track team, you had people like Alan Wells, etc., to be the captain. Also, I was really proud and I was really pleased that I was selected by the officials.
Brilliant.
And was me captain. Yeah, and PB wise, well, the difficult one in doing it, but I think the one that I really always remember was the 2,000 meters over in Belfast when I ran 3.8.6, and I beat Rod Dixon, who was the bronze medalist in the previous year, and it was an All Ireland record as well. So that was one race that really stood out. In fact, I took the headlines off of Steve Ovett that night, and he wasn't too happy because I got the headlines in the papers and not him. But no, he really was a good guy. I came up to me and shook my hand afterwards. But that was a great run that night. Just clicked. One of these nights, this all came together.
Great. And sorry, what was that? What was the time in that one again? Sorry, Lawrie, what did you?
A 5.3.6, which at that time was a Scottish record, and also it was all Ireland, i.e. the Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. It was the fastest 2K that had been run in Ireland at that point as well. So that was a wee bonus.
That's impressive, yeah, and I'm sure obviously we could obviously talk all day about all of your various races and PBs, and I know Sean will touch on some stuff later. But I also saw, I believe, there's a 3:58 mile in there somewhere as well.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yes, it was run by John Walker, and Frank Clements was second, and I was third. Yeah, because I'd been chasing that time for a long time, and I would begin to think, will I ever break this damn 4-minute mile? But but it did, and no, it just all came together that night again as well.
Great.
That was it. But yes, no, that was a favourite, and it's nice to say that I'm a sub-4-minute miler, and I do let people know that it's a nice thing to say.
As you should, in an illustrious club, and obviously, like you say, it all came together. Was that the only time under 4 minutes then?
No, I did it.
Oh wow!
I did a 3:59.6 as well. So I think I'm doing that, but no, I knocked round the door. It was 4 minutes, 4:1, 4:2, 4:3, and it's one of these things. I had a great collection of times round about, but risking under that is a magic 4 minutes for the first time was great.
Great. Okay. Brilliant. So certainly no fluke then. That's great. Okay. Next question. Your favourite male athlete?
Oh yeah. I mean, I just based on the male on. No, I think it was Steve Ovett, because he was the one guy that he would never walk by you. He always had a comment to make to you, or a joke, whatever the case may be. He was a real runner type thing and doing it. And I say, because I remember I worked in IBM at a time, and went in, and on the previous Friday down at Crystal Palace, Steve Ovett had kicked away with about 110 meters to go. I was chasing him, and he just stood out and kicked, and then he waved to the crowd and waved back at us. And the people in IBM said to me, "Wasn't that an insult to you?" I said, "Absolutely not. If I could have done it to him, I would have done it to him." But no, absolutely not.
Great. No, that's good. Yeah, he's a guy that I've not had the privilege to meet. I've heard so many stories about him. And someone else. So
I think so now, Pete. That's been so many guests now have said Steve Ovett has been a favourite runner. So I think we need to try and track down Steve Ovett and get him on the podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mentioned my name to me. I think he will remember me. I hope.
Brilliant. Okay, and then so just on to my next one. Then, so your favourite female athlete?
Yeah, at the moment, I must give it to Laura Muir, because I was having watched her coming through from being a wee girl and coming through, and I think the thing I liked about it is the range from the 800 up to the 5,000, plus all the cross country work she did as well, which is one of the backbones of my beliefs that cross country is so important. So I think for that reason, that's why I would give her that a plaudit, because she really has done well. And again, I think we talked to Steve Ovett. I think she's an athlete as well. She's a real runner type thing, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, no, I think we can all agree from a personal point of view. Obviously, she comes across to me anyway as a sort of athlete that kind of wears her heart on her sleeve, and you love the fact that you can just see the grit and the determination,
Yeah.
And one thing I like to see an athlete at the end of the race, not always, but you like to see an athlete that's grimacing and working hard. Sometimes when
Yeah.
you get certain, no one in particular, but there's certain athletes that just cross the line and then they're not even out of breath, and the times they're running are unbelievable. Obviously, not all of them, but certainly some of them beg some questions. But yeah, it's good to see that Laura's working really hard.
Yeah.
Okay, and then question 4: who is your favourite football team?
Oh, that's an easy one. It's Greenock Morton.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, because I was taken to Capello as a young boy, and I think it is inbred in you, sort of thing, in doing it.
Good.
So, but no, my wish for Greenock Morton is to get one season up in the Premiership, just up there. I'm playing against the top teams for one season only. I would be a happy man, but
Yeah.
I do have my doubts will have it happen. But no, that's who I am.
Yeah, brilliant. No, obviously, I get a lot of stick from some of my friends because apparently I support a number of teams. Apparently, 6, 7, 8 teams, but that's not true. I've got 2 real teams, which is obviously my English the team I support are Liverpool, but by default of association of my father-in-law, obviously Greenock Morton is my team. So there you go.
Yeah, there you are. Good. So we'll get some connection.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah. Okay. And then next question is your favorite movie.
Favorite movie? I've, it's Ben Hur because I remember seeing it as a young boy in the local BB cinema, it was known as in Greenock, and it was on the big screen. And I always remember that chariot race, and it's something that when it's on the TV, I always want to go and watch it again. So it's something that it was the action, it was a competition, and I think that's something that I liked about it.
Great. Okay, brilliant. Next one I've got is the most interesting person you've met through running.
Through running, oh dear, that's a real an interesting one. I met. I mean, I think I've met so many interesting people, and one of the things I would say that through the sport and traveling so much, there's very few countries I couldn't have went to and picked up a phone and phoned them and said, I'm stuck in your country. Can you come and get me? And we really would come and get you. So I think I would like to try and not avoid the answer, but by saying it's all the people that I met from all over the world who had this bond together. And I think that's the kind of way I would like to answer the question.
Okay. Brilliant. No, yeah, great. Okay. And then next question is your favorite race.
Favorite race? That's an interesting one. I think going back to when I was 13 years old, and I was just a really one of the boys, and back in these days they used to have a Clydebank so junior and youth races, and it was on in the winter. There was a road race. And I ran as in under 13, which was the junior boy, as it was known at that time. And having been that kind of this in the park, that day I finished third, and that's when I realised that I thought, oh wait a minute, I can maybe do something in this sport. So that was something that's gone way back, and it was local in Clydebank, and it was just something that. It was a breakthrough thing for me. We had to realise maybe, and that's it. All took off from then.
Great. Okay. Brilliant. And then the next question is the question that I'm always most intrigued to hear, and especially from yourself. Some of your the sort of old school, I think we could call it, training that you used to do. So your favourite session.
A favourite session, yeah. It's there was two of the different ones. I live in Greenock, and we're on the Esplanade here, and we are the male long, and I would do reps of 3 times. So 1 mile, and my brother Jim, who was coaching me, he would pick me up at the other end and drive me back, and we'd do 3 times the rep. and usually with the wind behind, obviously. And I always wanted it to be from the west end because you had a slight downhill start to get you going. So
Yeah.
I really liked that one. And the other one I liked as well was the 6 meters with 200 meters recovery.
Okay.
Because I felt that was a session that was really good in the sense that you were having to suffer a little bit, but you still had to keep the speed up because
Yeah.
otherwise it wasn't a worthwhile type thing doing it. So it was a bit harder than fours or twos, but it wasn't like the eights and 15s and so on that you would do. So yeah, I always liked that one. It really was a test when I was crossing over from sort of leg speed into to endurance and that awful feeling of going up the home straight, feeling I want to stop here.
Great. Okay.
Yes.
No, they're brilliant. There's another two sessions that we'll add to our repertoire. We'll give them a go at some stage with the mile rep. Sorry, what was your recovery on the 3 times a mile, and roughly what were you running those in, depending on where you were at?
Yeah, it was. I was doing the rep in about 4.2, 4.3s. But as I say, it was cheating with the wind behind me, or if it was a real sort of rotten night, it would be slower. And I say, my brother Jim would have the heater on full blast. I would get into the car, he would drive me back, and I would have maybe about 200, 300, 400 meters before I began the next rep type thing. It's a kind of difficult one.
Yeah.
The thing against that session was having to be driven back. I mean, I say that was my one negative about the session, but it was good to be able to have a straight line and just go for it with the head down.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, great. So next question is your favourite food.
Favourite food? If I'd have had it tonight, and it's fish and chips. But I also like some mince and potatoes, so I would have to put that in as well. So it's between fish and chips and mince and potatoes.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. Right. Just a couple more to go. Do you have a phobia or a pet hate?
Pet hate. Yeah, I wouldn't say I've got got a phobia, but the thing that I didn't like in the sport was that people who were ungracious at the end of a race, should we say, when they had got beat, and they wouldn't shake your hand or do whatever type thing in doing it, because I'm a great believer that you do your best in the race, and then that's a part of it type thing. So I didn't like the ones that who felt that they should have beat you or whatever reason type thing, and they went in the huffs.
Yeah. Okay, no, it's a good shout. Yeah, I think we can all relate to that. And then that's pretty much it. And then question 11. As I said, this is the question I get.
Here we go.
A bit of stick for adding in, and you probably I don't even know if you participate in this, but what is your favourite poker hand?
Poker hand. I will be honest with you, and my son-in-law Craig can confirm that I hate the bloody game because he always beats me. So to be honest with you, that's my answer. It's a game that should be banned, and especially with my brother-in-law, his son-in-law. It really, and that's been truthful type thing.
Well, to be fair, I understand that, Lawrie. Like, if your son-in-law beats you at it, then obviously it's clearly it's not your game, because Craig is awful. To be fair, I think even Sean normally beats him. But
my God, is that right? Jeez, oh my goodness me!
I'm just joking.
That's so destroying.
No, he's not bad.
Lawrie, I actually shout snap during it, and that's not how you play it.
Well, listen,
I'm on your side.
that was great, Lawrie. Thanks for that. I'll just go back over to Sean, but obviously I've got a whole list of other things to go through if we get time. But we'll just go back over to Sean for now. So thanks for that.
Okay.
Cheers for that, Pete. That was really good. Got a lot of good information there as well. And again, Steve Ovett is another guest's favourite runner. I mean, that's we really do need to track him down and see if we can get him on the podcast. Maybe even get Lawrie on, so as Lawrie can brag to him. I got the right set.
Hello.
Yeah. So it will. But so for yourself, Lawrie, so you said you're running, you came third in that Clydebank race. That's where you start to get a wee bit, maybe I could do this. But you ran for, as a junior, you ran for the junior Scottish team. the cross
Yep.
country international. It was at
Yep.
1972. So
Yep.
and then you obviously we all know. Well, people don't know you ran for the senior team as well. But would you say
Yep.
like, qualifying for the junior team back in 1972 was that kind of like the big kind of start of your running career?
Yeah, yeah, and I know that was my first, I would think, sort of real trip as an international. It was down at Cambridge, so it didn't involve any flights, and it was back in the good old amateur days, and the hotel was not maybe the most luxurious hotels of what I went into in later years, but it was just a sheer occasion. And knowing the history of the international cross country, because it was still the international cross country, and not the world championships at that point. But no, I think making it a junior team, I think it was it really was my first sort of no real breakthrough. I run in internationals, junior wings, in some of the in the small events and sort of intercountry type things, but that was the first sort of real international, and yeah, it was great to put on a Scottish vest for the first time. And we got to keep our Scottish vests and the shorts, but we had to hand back our tracksuits. That was used every year. So, but yeah.
All right.
So
That means in 1970 odd it was better because Tommy Murray he had to hand his vest back.
Oh no. That's well. Um, no, no. I think there's something going wrong there. I think knowing Tommy maybe sold it on eBay or something. Oh, of course, I know eBay in these days. Okay, right. I take that back, Tommy, if you're listening.
You get to keep the tracksuit these days, so.
Yeah, absolutely. No, in my later stages, yeah, we got the Kia tracksuit, but we only got one per season, though. You only got your tracksuit for one season. So there was more Scottish internationals, for example, going back then. And then of course, if you got the GB international, the big thing was to get the tracksuit bottoms, which had the Adidas stripes in the red, blue, and white. And what you did was that we went to other meets around the UK. You would wear your GB bottoms, but your ordinary tops. And I was just subtly saying, I'm a GB internationalist, so that's how you got the bragging rights.
Yeah, too right. I like that.
That's amazing. I mean, I've never even qualified for a Scottish team. I've not even qualified for the West of Scotland team. Never even a Scotland team and a GB team.
But Sean, no, you are a Scottish junior 5,000 meter champion. Remember, no, don't let people take that. Don't let them take that away from you. Remember, you are a Scottish champion. So remember that.
Yep. Andy's won the Cal 5K as well. So.
All right. Okay. I give him that.
Mine's it was a good few years ago. I was running by your house. You were outside, and I said, "Lawrie." You're like, "Hello." I was like, "I finally won the Cal 5K," and you're like, "About time."
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
That's
I had
very
guys, had guys like Craig Ruddy, Stephen Trainer. They kept coming over and ruining the party for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That pesky Ruddy. But knowing from when you coach myself, you were really big on cross country, and you qualified for Scotland many times at World Cross Country Championships as well. You went there, but how important would you say is cross country for a runner?
Yeah, I think. I mean, to be honest, from a male onwards, I think you all the athletes or the 1,500 meters onwards should all do cross country, because I think that endurance. Really gives you a very strong base that you can then add the speed to when you hit the track season or the roads, whatever the case may be. But no, I'm a great believer that the cross country was very important, and I suppose that I must say that I think the standards, Scottish athletics went backwards after we get kicked out of the World Championships, because I think that was it was a focus every year to keep us going type thing and doing it, and the Ruby brought us on. So yes, and things like so back in the day we would get trips to San Sebastian and had Newton,
Yeah.
Belgium, and so on. All these internationals across countries, and they were great to see travel and go and race and to meet people on the continent and to race against them over the country. And I think that gave you a good grounding.
Yeah, so I've always wondered that why they stopped it. Scotland qualifying, on their own.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it brought a lot of guys on, and it
Mm-hmm.
might be even if it was six spots. The
Mm-hmm.
person who was maybe in the sixth spot, they might not have ran the best track times, but they were a good cross country runner, and that was giving them
Absolutely.
something to run towards as well. So I wonder why
Absolutely.
they stopped that. Did they
Well,
give any reason?
it was because that they wanted to have a GB team rather than to have the four nations. But because the international cross country had began really as the four nations, that was the first sort of real international cross country, and it grew into the world cross country. And they gave us, I think, 3 or 4 years from changing from the international cross country to world championships is a part of the deal. But it does hurt when you see in football that in the home nation still are accepted by the world football authorities, but yet in athletics, they took that away from us. So it's sad because I think it was good and it gave people the opportunity to grow through the ranks and also as well it allowed us to compete against the English and when you began to beat the English, that was a good sign that you were really starting to make it really as a world A-class athlete.
It's only really now Scotland is in the whole of UK and Ireland and probably Europe, well, the world, that
Yeah,
Scotland is actually dominating. Like
yeah,
from Lawrie Muir right up to Josh Kerr,
yeah,
Jake Whiteman.
yeah. The only thing I say in that is that I think the cream has at last came back again, and I'm delighted to see that. Really, really delighted to see that. But we haven't got the same ace at depth that we had back in the day. I think
Yeah.
we had more depth. I think at the moment we have more cream, and I say again, I'm delighted that we have that cream because it was embarrassing that people like myself were holding times that I would have still been up to ace up there. No, and until these people came along, and that's why I mentioned Lauren Moore, for example. That's why I'm really keen that I know that to mention it because they really have brought that sort of standard to this a very high level. But I would like to see more depth.
Absolutely. I mean, and it is good to see, the likes of Laura Muir. I know she's did the cross country races, like
Mm-hmm.
national ones in the past. It would be really good, just for
Yeah.
likes of
Mm-hmm.
us to see, likes of Josh Kerr, Neil
Yep.
Gourley, Whiteman. Neil Whiteman's did a couple of the relays. Good to see
Yep.
these guys at
Yeah.
the 10K cross country in February. See how they
Yeah.
fare against, like a Jamie Crow or even a Derek Hawkins.
Yeah.
When you said,
Absolutely.
Fully on
I think
form.
I think you just said Neil Whiteman there, Sean. He's a new one. How's he doing?
I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, no, I
Just
think
listen,
it'd
no,
be
but
good to see these guys.
it is interesting, isn't it? How like the standards kind of even in certain events, I guess, and different time periods, they kind of change, and you go from one event where there's a big strength in depth to like for example, I guess I was fortunate really for when I was running my best times over the marathon. That was leaving me finishing quite high up in like the UK Championships and overall in finishing in the London Marathon. Whereas at the moment, the standard in general, I guess for good club runners, if you like, seems to be stronger. Like the times that I was running then, if I was running them now, I wouldn't be finishing as high up as I was before. So I think there's been quite a bit of a boom certainly within marathon running in the UK in more recent years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I say that's and I think that when we had more depth, I think that brought on some more of the club runners because they would try and hang on to the ones that weren't quite making it internationally, but that then brought the whole standard up. So So I do agree with that comment.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, no,
for yourself as well, Laurie, like you trained at a local level, you worked full time
Yeah,
Back in the day,
yeah,
you weren't away in high altitude training camps. You
no,
trained in the west coast of Scotland, down the
yep,
Battery Park, and people locally, club runners, etc. They were able to train with you,
yep.
next to you in the battery. And I think that's maybe a difference as well. A lot of people could try and keep up with you, and that brought them on as well.
Absolutely, and that's one of the backbones of what I believe in, sort of thing, and doing it. I mean that's what I love about the sport, in that you are able to compete and train with the top athletes. I think that's
Yeah,
what I really like about it. We could all be in the start line, and we can be an international, or we can be. It would be a jogger type thing, and that's what I really love about the sport. I mean, when you in football, you can't go and play with the Premier League players type thing and doing it sort of thing.
yeah.
But you can compete with athletes of all standards, and that's nice. And I think that you find most of the top athletes, and they will speak to anybody, and that's the beauty of the sport.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, Laurie. And I've probably mentioned this before on a previous episode, but just to touch on that again, just going back to sort of when I was running my best at the marathon, I totally relate to what you're saying, because I remember I went along to a runner shop where my friend worked at before my debut London Marathon, and there were these sort of elite athletes, if you like, chasing the US Olympic qualifying time. They were part of a sort of an elite project. I think it was called the Hanson or the Brooks Hanson project or
Yeah.
something like that. So they'd come over, they were talking, and obviously, and I'm there not knowing anything at all really about marathon running, and just listening and taking in all the info. And then on the day itself, obviously, one of them ran well, but one of them clearly didn't, blew up, was going backwards. And then I'm running along, maybe I know 23, 24 miles, and I just see this vest coming back towards me. And I'm thinking, just about 2 or 3 days ago, I'm sitting there listening to you, giving me all of this advice, and I'm just running past you. And again, just to put into context, like for myself, I mean, English national cross country champs, my best finish, which was good for me, was 99th, so nowhere near the top end. And yet, in that same marathon, I managed to run past in the latter stages of the guy who'd previously won the national cross country champs, Dominic Bannister. He'd obviously had a bad run, but even so, like, I can't put into words like him as a runner compared to me, completely night and day. He would be beating me in the cross country by probably about 10 minutes. And then, so yeah, have you had any experiences like that, especially as a youngster, where well, I don't know whether you've had a breakthrough or someone who was a really respected runner, or even someone who was a bit sort of big for their own shoes, and then you've kind of gone past them, or gotten a scalp when you maybe shouldn't have?
Yeah. No, I say I'll answer the question when I took on from finishing third in that Clydebank race. I then began to always be in the top 3, 4, 5 sort of thing and doing it. So I always was in that mix. But what I did discover was that when you began to sort of break through and you were competing against the seniors, and
Yeah,
that's when you got the scalps sort of thing. And that's when
yeah,
I mean, like Sir Lucky Stewart, who I was really impressed with the athlete, and he
yeah,
really helped me as a boy as well, type thing. I know we took an interest in me. When the first time I beat Lackey, I was right over the moon, because he was still a good athlete, but it was just another sort of thing. Yeah, I'm coming through. I'm coming through. I'm beating my heroes now, type thing, and that's a
yeah.
really nice thing to do.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, yeah, obviously it's slightly different, but I can only relate to that when I managed to beat your son-in-law the one time I did in a park run when he was really unfit. So there you go. It's not quite the same, but still.
Absolutely, it's the same. I think that's to make a comment in the moment. I think that's the beauty of the sport, in that what I felt at the front of a race was what you felt in the middle of a race. It's,
Yeah,
it's, it's all the same feeling. It's all the
yeah,
same competition. It's,
definitely.
it's all the same thing, and it's all the same. The only difference was I was running a bit faster than that, than what you were, but it's the exact same feeling, absolutely.
Yeah,
And a good run is brilliant, and a bad run is next day's crap. Absolutely terrible.
Definitely.
So,
Just on that note, yeah, like you say, obviously the times you were running are obviously really really impressive. So I just want to double. So I think your PB is 2:16:01, Glasgow 84, the second one. So I've got a couple of questions to lead on from that. So yeah, well, firstly, I believe I don't know whether he's actually going to pay out or whether there's still a chance of him doing it, but I believe. I believe Craig Ruddy's agreed that he's at £1,000 bet with you that he's going to beat your PB. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. I must admit that was it Frankfurt a couple of years ago when he
right.
when he was on for the first time?
Yeah.
I generally thought at that point he was going to break my marathon time sort of thing.
Right.
I generally believed in that, and it all went wrong. Obviously, he was sent off course. It was a real shame type thing in doing it because.
Yeah.
You could put that quick because that time was there from that day type thing of doing
Definitely.
it. But in saying that, I've still got the bragging rights. So hey.
Brilliant. That's what we like to hear. Great. Okay. And yeah. So and just on the marathon there. So again, because obviously we've heard a lot about some of the great runs you've done, but as Sean and I all both know, as we all know, you don't have those days every day. So marathon debut. I'm interested to hear a little bit about that. 2:42, I believe. Hit the wall. I think around 22 miles. So talk us through that one.
Yeah, that's correct. I think this is to take one step back from about the marathon. The thing that I didn't do, I didn't commit to fully train for a marathon. I was always frightened of losing my speed. And I saw so many athletes moving up to the marathon, and what you saw was that the speed went. So I compromised my training for marathons, and that's what really beat me. Looking back, I wish I had trained more focused in the training for the marathon, because I think I would have done it so much better, because I was struggling. And that first marathon, the wheels came off completely, and it was not nice. But I did finish. I think that summed me up as an athlete that day, because I was walking in Glasgow Green at the finish. I was walking, and it wasn't nice. But I just had overcooked it, and. I just ran out of time, and I got caught wrong. But it was not a nice experience, and I think that did scar me for the future. I think that in my following on marathons, I think that was always the back of my mind. And I'll be honest with you, I never ran a good marathon. Absolutely not.
Right. You don't feel you reached your sort of full potential at the marathon then?
No, because I think that bad start. And then with my reluctance to maybe train properly for it, but I think the thing, plus as well, I think one of the things as well was fitting in these long runs into my, to my family life, because things were
of course
changing. That's when you're doing this type of thing, and so that was kind of in the background.
Yeah, and sorry, just to going back to a few. Other things in your earlier days of running, because if I'm right in saying, I think you predominantly did obviously a lot of your training on your own, and is it I think you're the youngest of 5 brothers. Is that something that sort of spurred you on a little bit as well? And I think it was your eldest, wasn't it, Jim, that coached you for a bit. So just a little bit interested about that growing up as
No, very true. I think coming from a family that it was fully invested in the sport, and I think that and that helped me. And things like so having older brothers who had been through it, and when I was coming through the ranks, as I was saying, as I was getting older, I think all their experience and all their help came, and I came through type thing and doing it. And I think they all were. I said my brother Jim was my coach, but my second oldest brother. He's called George, and he was a bad cop. So he would be the one that would give me a real gutting when I had a bad run, sort of thing. So he was the one that he gave me a kicking, and my brother Jim was the one that would pick me up and put me back together again, and then go forward again. So that's how it worked. Yep.
Brilliant. Okay, and just sorry before let Sean come back in with anything else he needs to add. I was just also intrigued a little bit about again your sort of racing in your younger days. Am I right in saying I think you were involved with Strathclyde Uni, and then you've also got, and again I'll be honest, I don't know the full history of quite how Inverclyde became Inverclyde. I know there was I think you were with Glen Park for a bit and Spango Valley and also Shettleston. So I'm just interested to know which was your fondest memories in the club scene.
Yeah. No, no. I began beginning Glen Park Harriers, and then when I went to university and I began racing if university. And at that time, you were forced to go first claim for university. So obviously that happened, and and during that spell, that was when I was really starting to break through internationally, and in Shelterson, obviously in the things like the British League, etc., and gave me far more opportunities to get the races that I needed to help to get me sort of noticed down south. So that's why I then changed to to Shetterson, and I'd won the Scottish Junior 50-metre championships for Glen Park, and I was made a life member, but. So they then took away my life membership when I joined Shelton. So I do regret that, because I say it did mean something to me at that stage, and to be honest, it still means something to me, sort of thing, in doing it. But hey ho, that's what happens, sort of thing, in doing it to be clubs.
Yeah.
So I then ran for Shelterson, and then I was working if ICI Ability Sportive down in Ayrshire, and then I moved up to IBM. And of course, IBM Spangle Valley. So I then transferred to finish my career for Spangle Valley. That's how it happened, sort of thing, in doing it. All sort of four sort of clubs meant something to me, because I always sort of wore the invest with pride, sort of thing, in doing it. So no, I broke through with Glen Park, got my first Scottish title on the track with Glen Park. Then university, a British University champion, and so on, etc., etc. And then Shelterson, just grew from then. So I've been doing it, and then I think finishing up, it was Spangle Valley with my big brother Cameron, sort of thing, and sort of pushing us on, sort of thing, and winning things like the Scottish Relay Championships. So through in St Andrews, for example, was really, really good. I don't win it often. It was Shelterson. It was so nice to do it for Spangle Valley. It was a nice feeling that day. I always remember. I was on the last leg and came through and won it, type thing. So
brilliant.
Really nice memories.
No, that's great, and yeah. So just on that note, you mentioned the sort of British League with Shettleston. So was that the British Athletics League then? So you were traveling in. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So I again, at different eras that we've run, because obviously I've competed in the British Athletics League with Blackheath Harriers, or Blackheath and Bromley as they are now. So I don't know what were some of the sort of the top clubs at that point you were up against. And I don't know if Blackheath featured, or whether it was sort of Belgrade, your son-in-law's got links to. And were you doing the sort of 5,000 meters there then? Were you doubling up?
You would really have to double up, because you always were stretched, sort of thing, in doing it. So I would do things like the 15, the 5, sort of thing, in doing it. And the Ruby have got one story that you mentioned. You go back to university, when you had inter-university championships, and you all had to compete in all events on the track, sort of thing, and doing that. And I was the captain of this Strathclyde team, so I had to run in the 3,000-metre steeplechase. So I was running around, and I decided I didn't like getting my feet wet, so I would go into the water jump, and then so I jumped to the side. So I was quite happy running around, and I won the race. And then bandits disqualified me because I jumped to the side. And what really hacked me off was, why didn't you tell me at the time? And not let me finish. So I was not a happy camper that day. So, but,
so you were going over the barrier, but landing to the side of the water.
I didn't put my feet wet. True story.
Good stuff.
You like? I didn't know that story.
Yeah, there's plenty of them.
So Going back to obviously your cross country days. So, what
Yep.
would you say was your most fondest memory or performance on the cross country? Any
Yeah.
race that sticks out?
There was I think it was the cross country my senior championships here at Livingston, and so Nat Muir and myself had a head to head, and we just went head to head all around that course, and no, we just pipped me, but it was one of these races that we were we were passing each other sort of thing and doing it. And of course, Nat was a far better cross country runner than what I was sort of thing and doing it. But I just missed out that day from beating him, which would have given me a lot of pleasure. But hey, no, he did it. It was there was a race that I enjoyed doing. I gave him my all, and I was quite happy with that type of thing and doing it. So yeah, I did shake his hand at the end and says, and well done. So that was a good race. That was a real race. He was great.
And was that a qualification for the world cross country?
Yes, yes, yes. I think it was around about then. No, I was made captain in the Scottish team. It was Jim Alder used to be the captain of the Scottish team, and he retired from the international, and I was. I think with me finishing second, that put me into the captain spot. They decided to make me the captain of the Scottish team, so I held that for a good number of years.
So at the World Athletic Champion, at the World Cross Country Championship, sorry,
Mm.
what was that experience like?
Yeah, but it was. It's. I think the thing that always was a part of the build up was going around the course on the day before, and you were allowed to go around the course and see it all. But also you were mixing with the other teams and people that you got to know so over the years type thing and doing it. But it was just that day before, it was just that sheer excitement and
Yeah.
and that hope that the next day that it would all click together and you were going to have a good one.
Yeah. And does it Tommy Murray said when he was at the World Cross, he said like even if you stop for like 2 seconds, there'll be 50 guys would come running past you. It was just so packed out.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's the way I would describe it was that you would do a sprint really at the start, and it never eased off. Just kept on going.
Yeah,
True. That's the only way I can describe it. It was that you were doing it. You did a full out sprint to just keep in there, and then you think it must slow down, it must slow down, it must slow down. Did it hell? It just kept on going.
And how many world crosses did you do? Sorry, Lawrie.
10, 12.
Oh wow, that's
Wow.
impressive.
What was
Yeah.
your best finish?
46.
Oh, in the
Brilliant.
world.
Yeah, but I just say I wouldn't say that in cross country was my best surface because no, I did that, and then I was first got home in New York in '84. Was it? I was first got home and I got the Walter whatever it was trophy type from if I'd been the first Scot sort of thing and doing it. So that was, that was the best. So
Yeah.
it was my best position, but it was
Yeah.
my favourite run from that point of view.
And what was the kind of worst or even hardest of the world crosses you did, and where was that
In
terms of the course?
To the time of the course, the they were always hard. I mean,
Yeah.
a very hard one to say. Düsseldorf, I think that was in '77. I can't remember what that year, but that was one that it was German, obviously being into Düsseldorf, but I didn't expect the course to be as hard. And this was a real hard course. A lot of bumps in it, and a lot of you weren't really getting a chance to recover. You seemed to be always having to dig all the time.
Yeah.
So I remember one of the Scottish team officials, he shouted at me, said, "It's only pain. Keep on going." I think if I could have swung at him, I would have. But I
Yeah.
didn't have the energy.
certainly relate to that. That in the army days, you would get told that pain is just weakness leaving the body. So yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Did you ever do any of the other sort of domestic cross country races, like the inter-counties or anything like that?
No, it's no. I never done the English or the inter-counties. It was just it kind of fitted in the schedule. It was a case of I was on the thought of doing it. He did the Scottish National and then the World Cross was the way I set up my training. But to do the inter-counties and to do the English National, I was always worried that I would take too much. But it's out myself. So plus it was another weekend away, and so obviously it was family life. I was they were trying to pick the races that really counted for me.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Stuff.
Yeah, but from the cross country though, you won, Scottish titles and qualified for the World Cross Country Championships 12 times, which is a lot more than what some of the athletes these days can say. But after that, you've got your track. You were a junior 1500-meter champion, and then the following year later, you ran like 3:45 for the 1500 to win the senior men's title.
Yeah.
Your junior year.
Yeah,
and that's where your track really took off.
Yeah. No, that's I actually held the Scottish junior and senior championships for 2 weeks because they overlapped. So I was actually in the senior and the junior champion, at the same time. So I was quite chuffed at that. But it only lasted 2 weeks, so never mind.
Still though, still.
That's impressive because I think you medalled at every age group in the Scottish National Champs. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I have. Yes, I have.
Impressive.
And doing that type of thing, and to be honest with you, it was not my best surface. I mean, I think it's early on in the conversation I did mention that there really was a backbone. I think for all athletes around the cross country. And also as well, if it was a heavy course, if it was muddy, I had no chance because my style was really much kick off the ground. And of course, if it's soft, you just kicked into the mud and I'm having to pull myself out of it type thing and doing it. So, but no, I'm very pleased at my record type thing and doing it. But no, I much prefer the track.
Well, there's still time to add another masters category over the country, and I actually know a physio that's fairly handy down south in sort of quite close to Epsom in that sort of area. So he can put that knee up.
Absolutely, but I have to get my new knee going first, and then a new hip. Then I might get there.
Fair enough.
And on the track, well, the 1500 meters is where you started off.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that moves on to 3,000, 5,000 and 10,000. For the 3,000, you've ran 7:52.
Yep.
And for the 5,000, 13:37, and for the 10,000, 20:11.
Yeah.
But it's not like it is these days. You don't sign up and you put down what time you want to run and you get a pacemaker. All your PBs were all run.
You're all races. Yeah.
They were
all races. Yeah, I never had the pleasure of being paced. So it was all you really had to race. I mean, that was the one thing about it. But that was one of the things that happened. You could run 8:3, for example, in a 3,000 meter, but had a great race because it was this people playing cat and mouse and all the rest of it type thing. It was a great race to watch. But your times were slow type thing of doing it. But it always was good to get a fast time behind you. Always was.
And you're 13:37.
Yeah.
That qualified you. Was that the one that qualified you for the Commonwealth Games in Edmonton?
Yes, that's right. It was in that Muir myself with 2 Scots that night, and we finished first and second. I think I was half a second behind in that, and then in the Scottish Championships, which was the trials, they picked the team I beat that day, sort of thing, in the 5,000 meters. So I was a Scottish champion. So we went to Edmonton. Yeah,
it's a great scalp to get because Nat Muir was at that time 13:17 for 5,000.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause in those times, that was no world class times.
Yeah, yeah. No, as I say, like, it was all about the racing back then. So it was no. I was pleased to beat that day because it was a good race. He had pipped me over in Athens, so I was pleased to beat him at Meadowbank. That was nice, and then I also guaranteed my place as well in the Scottish team for the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, be interested to hear a little bit about those Commonwealth Games, Lawrie. Like, talk us through that. So I think you obviously 14:09 in the heat, and then I think 14:28 in the final. So tell us about the two races, how they went.
Yeah, I felt great in the heat, very comfortable. In fact,
Tipping Brendan Foster.
Yeah, it's a question of sport as well. That when it came to the bell in the heat, the bell fell off, and that was used often in a question of sport. What happened next? So you would see me running along to the bell, and they would go, "What happened next?" And the bell fell off. So, but no, no. What happened after that was that there was a bug going about the village. And I unfortunately managed to pick it up, and I went on to antibiotics, and I think with hindsight, I never should have ran, but hey, I'd made it. I'd made the final Commonwealth Games. I was going for it, but no, this wasn't right. And I think the final insult was that I was then picked for a drug test, and I couldn't produce my sample for 2.5 hours after the race had finished. So I was hanging about in a stadium trying to produce this bloody sample. So
we had Tommy Murray telling us a similar sort of story where he struggled to do that after a hard run.
Yeah. So, but never mind. That was the final insult. But never mind. But no, I was real disappointed because I was intending to do the 15 as well, because there was only two runners for Scotland, Frank Clement and John Robson, were doing the 15, and I had been sort of told if I wanted to do the 15 after the 5, I could, but obviously I didn't all come together. I mean, that finishing fourth as well, type thing. If I had maintained that form, I could have had a chance. But hey, that's life. That's the way it ended up.
Yeah, but obviously, I can't. I can't imagine competing at that level. So yeah, it must be still, a proud moment, a great experience, and I think I think Sean's the only one of the three out of the three of us who's not actually competed in Canada for their country. But there's still time anyway.
Go for him, Sean. Come on, don't let me for that.
I can't fight against facts,
Okay, very good.
And obviously the Commonwealth Games, it's a big experience for you, first ever games, etc. as well. But even at that time, though, you still ran, great times. Your 10,000 meter time. That was 28:11. That was done at Crystal Palace. Is that right?
No, that was done at Meadowbank on a cold. It was Saturday afternoon with the rain and the wind. We did at Meadowbank, and it wasn't ideal. But again, it was one of these occasions. I did a session on the Wednesday night, and I just knew I was flying, and of course we all clicked together. And then on that day, it just all came together, and I was 11.85, and Lucky Stewart's at the Commonwealth Games was 11.8. Of course, that was hand timing type thing and doing that. So he still owns the Scottish native record, and I missed out by 500th of a second to be the holder of that record still. But never mind. So but no, it was the UK Championships, and I finished second that day.
And that was Meadowbank, did you say? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Which was very pleased at, because it was not the best conditions.
Yeah.
And again, it was a race. We actually raced that. There was no pacemaking, and of course, everybody was playing cat and mouse with each other. And I'm sure if it had been a pace race, we would have been easily under the 28 minutes. So I think they're doing it. But hey, do we race? That's what it's all about. It was all about racing.
And Meadowbank at that time, was that a cinder track, or was it a
No.
proper?
No. it was made in Tartan for the 1970 Commonwealth Games, so it'd been a tartan track. That was the main track for Scotland for all these years until it was
because
shut down recently.
it really gets me thinking. Guys, back in your day, Lawrie, you know, if you were about the Lawrie Spence of 1972 through to 1984, if you were about in these days with all the new training and all the
Mm.
super shoes,
Yep.
how fast, how much faster you could be.
Absolutely. No, I can also say that I feel I never really reached my full ability because I was having to work. I was working sort of 9 to 5 every day type thing and doing it. And without having good employers like ICI and IBM and gave me time off to go and compete. He never mind train, but it was good to get the time off to go and compete. So no, I think if I'd been a professional, I think I could have done so much more, and even things like sports medicine and being an engineer by background. I think having the facts and figures and like having a Garmin watch, etc., sort of thing, and doing that, I think that sort of information would have really sat well with me because I was analytical, in my career sort of thing. So I think that would have been something I would have enjoyed, and even things like sports medicine and instead of going to a session and saying I don't feel great today, okay, I will keep on going. I maybe overtrain or I won't train hard. No, if you had the sports medicine that you have nowadays, you would know exactly know if the body had a problem or not. So that's something that I think it would have made me a better athlete. But hey ho, I was born in 1953, so that's what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately so. And I think we were talking to the Tin Man coach, Dr. Schwartz, and
Yep,
he
yep.
was saying as well in America, it
Mm,
was all back in the day, it was all if you don't spew at the end of a session, then you're not working hard enough. But nowadays it's the kind of the Kenyan approach.
yep.
Don't spew in training, but if you spew at the end of a race, that's fine. But as long as you're
Mm,
in training, as long as you're simmering, not boiling, then that seems to
yep,
be the approach nowadays.
yep, yep. Hmm. Absolutely.
But but you've also had an absolutely incredible running career. But you get into coaching as well,
Yep.
and I mean you coach me, um, but apart from me, like I know that I'm the most talented athlete that you coach, but apart from me, who would you say has been the most talented athlete that you've came across?
Yep. Okay, dokes. Um, Craig Ruddy was, I think, uh, is no, and the running style was tremendous. I think if I could have run as smooth as him, I think I would have been a far better athlete. Having and doing that. Then you got people like Derek and that strength as well. But the one thing I would say that one night we were doing that famous Bale reps so, along the Esplanade, and Craig and Derek and then Callum sort of joined it, and we did the session, and and Callum completely and utterly hammered Derek and Craig, and that was the night I realised that Callum was it was really going to be a big star type thing and doing it sort of thing. It was just unbelievable because he was younger than the two of them, and the session that he just went out and just blasted them and was it was very interesting to watch sort of thing and doing it type thing. So
yeah,
that would be it would be something that I saw type thing and doing it. But it was great seeing sort of three guys sort of doing a session like that and giving it all. And it was great to watch and really great to watch as a coach as well because he was seeing all the talent there.
yeah,
It was very uplifting.
I was
brilliant.
there that night, and I remember I was way behind. But I remember in the warm down, Craig was just saying, "Jesus Christ, that boy is
Mm-hmm.
honestly just." I think that Craig knew how good Callum was, but I think he wasn't expecting the boy, younger than him to be. putting in those kind of times in that session. You know,
Yeah,
it was really, really
absolutely.
impressive. And then fast forward to now, and Callum's, the achievements he's done just now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you can see that type of thing, and it's nice to see. I think as a coach, to see him coming through. The one thing I always felt as a coach was I didn't need my athletes to do well because I had done well in my own sport, under my own name, sort of thing. So I didn't want to live my life and my success through them. I just wanted the athletes to do the best they could, and that went from Craig to yourself, Sean. It didn't matter what level you were at. I just wanted you to do your best.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had no idea I could run 2:07 for 800.
Were you as fast as that?
I know. Don't know how I done it. Get no idea. I just remember you showed me the stopwatch at the end. I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think I've seen that 2:07 pace you've got, Sean, on the odd cross country where you have actually got the better of me in a few not so long ago.
I can only do it on the cross country now. We're short over 100 meters.
Yeah.
But we get back to like your training in your career. So, what would a typical training week look like for yourself when you're at the peak of your powers?
Yeah. Okay, dokes. The Monday was like sort of 2 runs for lunchtime and evening run. Quite a hard run on the Monday night. It would be around about a 5 or sub 5 minute mile pace sort of thing, and doing that. Tuesday lunchtime run, and then a session where if it's in the track season, obviously it was a track session. If not, it could be a fartlek type session or hill session. So Wednesday was 2 runs. The evening session a bit longer than the Monday night run type thing. Then the Thursday would be a lunchtime, and then a night time would be a sharper and faster session. Only one session on a Friday. Always gave us a treat of if only one session on a Friday, and then the Saturday would be race, obviously, or a main session, and it would be my main session of the week type thing, and that's when people like Jim would be there to watch me, etc. type thing, and that was a main session, and then on a Sunday would be my long run, and that could be from 15 to 20 miles, just depending. And a lot of that, by the way, would be over country. I would go over the back of the IBM over to the muddy country and things like that. Things like that I was having to work, but at the same time, it wasn't hard on my legs because I would do a lot of running on the road, obviously, during the week. So it was good to get into the softer country, although it was very tiring. That was the trade-off you would get.
Out of interest, what was the single kind of longest training run that you'd ever done in training?
Yeah, no, man, it was for the marathon, and it was a 22 miles.
Right.
And that's why I said I never really got to the high mileage for the marathon. I should have done type thing of doing it.
Yeah.
I was comfortable around about the 15, 18 miles on a Sunday was my comfort level. I could quite happily do that every Sunday, and that was my bread and butter run.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So just to touch on that, because obviously there's so many different approaches to training, and as I'm sure you'll agree, running's not an exact science, and what works for one person doesn't work for the other necessarily. So we've all got different sort of techniques and training methods that we've tried and tested. But and again, I'm just going off sort of rumours that I heard, but I believe Dave Bedford, for example, I think he would actually run over distance in training for the marathon. So he might go out and run a 30-mile training run. And some people, would always talk about for the marathon, you want to be going up to like around sort of 23, 24 miles minimum, or at least sort of time on feet as to say if you were looking to run like yourself a 2:16 marathon, then you need to be covering at least that time in training. Obviously, you're clearly not going to be going at quite the same pace, but so just with the long runs as well. Obviously, I've recently tried to have a crack at the ultra running. I've not quite cracked it yet, but even chatting to like Mark Pollard and others, trying to get some advice for me. How far should your longest run be if you're training for 100k? And so the general kind of consensus or advice I've got from speaking to other people seems to be not to really go up much further than sort of 60 to 65k. Because otherwise, you'll lose the benefit. It'd be too detrimental in the time you get to recover. But yeah, interesting that you went up to 22 miles for the marathon, though.
Yep, I'm doing that. And you mentioned Dave Bedford. He was a character. He was also a guy I ran with, and he was known.
Okay.
He has bootsy because he used to train on his long runs with boots on, and that's
Right.
why he get nicknamed Sir Bootsy. But again, really nice guy, and
Yeah.
what a character. And
Yeah.
I never get involved in the drinking session with him because you just wouldn't win. He would just he had hollow legs.
Lawrie, I remember the night at the 10Ks down in London. I think it was the first year it went on. I went down with Craig Ruddy and Mark Pollard just to watch it, and
Yeah.
it was kind of raining, and I was standing under this kind of very thin, like marquee kind of thing. And then this old guy walked over, a guy with a moustache, much better than
Yep.
mine,
Yep.
and he walked over. He's like that. He's like, so I'm guessing you're not running tonight. I was like, no. He's like, I'm racing. I'm racing next week in a 10K. It's the Helensburgh 10K. Got my PB, and he's like, all right, cool. He's like, where's that? I was like, up in Scotland. He's like, just asked me for training and stuff. I was like, I'm doing this, nah, blah. Like my coach was in the Commonwealth Games. And he's like, oh, who's your coach? I was like, Lawrie Spence. He's like, oh, I know Lawrie really well. I was like, all right, what's your name? He's like, Dave Bedford. I was like, oh,
Oh, dear.
all right,
Absolutely. Yeah.
world record holder over 10,000 meters.
Absolutely. And he was a character and a real nice guy as well. As I said,
Sorry, go on, Lawrie. Sorry.
No, I said earlier on, and the thing is, you meet a lot of people all over the world, and the thing with the sport, you get this friendship that it's really special type thing in doing it. So, again, that's one of the pluses of the sport. Absolutely.
Did Mr. Bedford have a 118 vest on, Sean, when you were chatting to him under the umbrella?
No, yeah, that happened afterwards, sort of thing, and doing it, and he wasn't happy with that.
So I hear.
Yeah.
I know. What a guy. But no, it was. Maybe you go a lot of places. When I was being coached off you, etc. Oh, my coach is Lawrie Spence. Now people would say, "Oh, yeah, Lawrie Spence." A very big name in Scottish athletics. But on a wee final note, Lawrie, so
yep.
How happy are you with the way Scotland are performing on the world scene in running just now?
I think I touched on it earlier on by saying that Cream are doing so really, really well. I would just love to see some more depth in Scotland. I'd like to see us having more athletes that Iran, one or two superstars that we have. And as I say, unfortunately, a lot of them have to move to America, etc., to really get the breaks as well. I would just love it for people to live in Greenock and train in Greenock and make it from Greenock, because I think that's what we'd really like to see type thing. So I'm doing it, but don't knock it. It's been a long time, and the Lucky Stewarts, the Ian Stewarts, Ian McCafferty's, all these guys back in my day type thing, and in that Muir, the Frank Clements, the John Robsons, etc. type thing, the Asher Huntons, the Jim Browns, etc. All my sort of cohort. I mean, it's I'd like to sort of see that being a bit bigger pool of enough endurance athletes being about, because very strongly, as you can gather, I'm into endurance athletes. And things like saying to Alan Wells that they were the sideshow to keep the crowd happy is in between in the middle distance and endurance races. He didn't go down too well, but I just think it's more entertaining to watch a 15 or 3,000 or a 5K, 10K. It's a great race to watch type thing. Whereas in a sprint, it's over and done with very quickly type thing. In doing it sort of thing. So yeah, I would just like to see us sort of grow as a country and get more people so really hitting these times type thing and doing it. And things like it'd be nice if some Inverclyde or going at people where to beat my PBs. That would be a real nice situation type thing. And maybe my son-in-law would do it yet. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, we wish him the best of luck. We're really obviously hoping that he does, because we clearly know he's got a lot more potential there, and I'm sure he'll get it right. So. Yeah, I was just going to say, Lawrie. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll be challenging any of your PBs anytime soon. But I've dabbled a little bit with some coaching myself, and had some sort of good results with the guys that I've set sort of marathon schedules for, and that's something I've actually enjoyed. Because like you say, I mean, I know it's not necessarily because I'm still trying to have a crack at running myself, but so it's not necessarily living your running sort of through them, but it is rewarding to see the other guys doing well, definitely.
Absolutely.
And even with the likes of, so yeah, and that's something I intend to sort of have a bit more of a crack at coaching later on. And then you've got obviously the guys, you guys like Sean, even who's had the privilege of having some good coaches himself. And I think we can always learn things from others. So give us a few more years, and then hopefully there'll be a few more coaches out there, and we'll do our best to get the strength in depth, certainly in Inverclyde going anyway.
Yeah, but I know I think you're right. I think we need to do something in doing it, but just always remember that the athlete comes first, and no, an athlete has to be selfish and do the right thing for them, and that's something that I'm a great believer in. And if you can help somebody, that's a big bonus type thing in doing it, and that's a really nice thing to do.
Yeah, brilliant. So just, I know we're probably coming towards the end, but it's been great chatting to you. Just a couple more things I was going to mention. I mean, obviously we talked about your marathon BB being 2:16, but I think we can't really say that without mentioning that although that's your PB, you've actually ran quicker than that. Although unfortunately it wasn't obviously, I don't think it was a certified or ratified course, if you like.
Yes,
but 2:15 Orange County, LA, is that right?
It was 2:13.
2:13. Okay.
Yeah, and it was notified by AIM, the Association of International Marathons, and Colin Shields, who was one of the leading lights in the nuts, the statistics people. I think said, "Mate, Lawrie, it wasn't certified, so it didn't." So I always remember that conversation. But yes, I had. As I was saying, it was. And I was at Orange County type thing and doing that. And my big thing about that was next year I got to Disneyland and I met Mickey Mouse. So hey, I'll go. What a treat!
Could you not get your brother Cameron to go back out there with a wheel and get that quickly put through?
For me, no chance. I think Sean had more chance of getting that done from me.
And just lastly, I'm definitely getting some dubious information through here live as we speak, and it's not coming from Craig Ruddy, but I'm being told that your favourite daughter is your second one. I'm not sure about that, but then I'm also being told that actually it's your first one, which is a Dalmatian called Tara. So I don't know.
Absolutely, yes. Tara used to go running with me to the battery park on Saturday morning and watch my sessions. Yes, and she was a spotty dog. Yes, she was lovely.
Fair enough. Great. All right. Well, listen, it's been great chatting to you, Lawrie. Sean, anything else you had to add?
No, I just wanted to get Lawrie on because he's, even like Colin Murray as well. He's part of the last British team to medal at the World Cross Country Championships, and Lawrie as well, been to all these World Cross Country Championships, been to Commonwealth Games, and I know both guys are from the Inverclyde area, but just to try and inspire a lot of folk, just because, Josh Kern, etc., are all winning World Championships, it's more than possible,
Absolutely. And as I say, I know what I've done. I did it from a local boy and I did it all here and lived and worked here, sort of thing, and doing it. So we can do it. Absolutely, I've got no doubt. We can do it. It's hard work, but you just all go for it. Just do your best, get your PBs, and keep improving. And it doesn't matter whether you're a GB internationalist or whether you're a club runner. It's all important. And one last thing is, I will say, the thing that I do like at the moment is things like the park run, because I believe the sport should be free, and I think you've got a chance to get there and run, and people can set their own PBs, in their own standards. and have that camaraderie, which is a part of the sport. We have a wonderful, wonderful sport, but by Christ, it's a hard sport to make it. And
Yeah,
it's really tough.
no, but park runs are great. I've had some ups and downs. I mean, unfortunately, it was actually a park run where I met Sean. So you got to take it with a pinch of salt. But in general, I would say the park run is a great event.
Yeah, it's good for the sport, and I'm a believer that it should be low cost, because we should be able to get out the house and go for a run and do a bit and come back in again. That's having and doing it. We really shouldn't have to go to a swimming pool or to a football pitch, whatever the case be, and have to pay money and all the rest of it. It really is a sport that should allow us all to run, and it shouldn't cost us an arm and a leg. And that's what I really like about it. It's for us all. Anybody can go and do it.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Especially the price of shoes these days.
That was one benefit being international. I didn't have to suffer in buying my own shoes. No, and I was in the day when we were amateurs, but getting the free gear was great. I must admit, that was a big help.
It would save me a fortune these days anyway.
Did you not win a pair of trainers when you won the Kilmacombe 10K, Sean? No?
No, I won the Kilmacombe 10K. Like, first time it was I get vouchers for a running shop which was never open. Second time it was vouchers again for the same shop. And the third time didn't get anything. It was just a medal. And no prize money at all. So
that's interesting. Ross Gray won a 2K when he won the 10K at Kilmacombe this year.
Did he? Yeah. Oh well. He needs to win it 2 more times. He's got my record.
Go. Here we go. That's where we are. Big challenge.
And he's also got to win the Kill 5K as well.
Well, let's not forget about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, John Bell ran pretty well at the Kilmacombe half marathon this year, but he didn't fancy it when I was on the line one year. So, but yeah, I'll maybe see him on the line next year if he. But mind you, he's been talking to other podcasts, hasn't he? So we'll need to have a chat with John soon, and we'll maybe have a chat with him as well.
Yeah, we need to get him on. He's currently hiking. I think he might be back this week, but he's hiking the UTMB trail in Switzerland or so, and the Alps.
I've heard that. Yeah,
for a 10-day holiday. So yeah, it's not my kind of holiday, but it's their own. Anyway, it's been great having you on, Lawrie. And what we'll do is we will hopefully maybe hear from your brother at some point. But
that would be an interesting one. That would be. In fact, I would even tune into that one. That would be interesting.
Absolutely.
But
hopefully for next time. But thank you very much for coming on and giving us the time.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you.